Hello! Exciting times, exciting times. I've been looking at OpenIPC for a while, and as I reported previously, it started off as a very, very long tutorial, and since then it's been getting easier. The software's been getting better, commercial companies have been getting involved, and they've been making things easier. And I think we've had the real breakthrough today. I got a package from RunCam containing this. What is this? This is RunCam's VRX for OpenIPC, and it's essentially a goggle module. I'd normally do like an unboxing, but this is pre-production, so it just came in a bag, and it's got like 4 linear antennas with it, and this power cord, which says it can take between 9 and 30 volts, so pretty much any battery we're going to deal with. What it's got then is this 5-way joystick, something here to connect it to your goggles in some way. Under here it's got an OTG, Type-C and HDMI out. So the idea is you go HDMI out to HDMI in of your goggles. But that's not all. Also, RunCam have brought out the V2 of their VTX. Now the first VTX I got, and the camera, really good camera picture, really like that. VTX was a little bit delicate. It had like 2 boards that were just supported at one end. So I found if there was anything in between them, it would sort of not work. But as long as you got it right and got it mounted correctly, it was good to fly. But my goodness, have they improved things. If I show you what's in this box, it could blow your mind. It now looks like this. So basically they've managed to sandwich in the guts for the computing power of the camera, plus the Wi-Fi card, plus a fan, and make the whole thing into a heat shrink just in this one little thing. And there we've got the camera. The camera, I presume, is the same thing. We'll check that out. Then elsewhere in the box we have these couple of linear antennas to connect, and we've got 2 cables. It's got a lot easier. So we've just got 2 ports on here. One is labelled RJ45, and this is this one. So this is if you want to connect it up to Ethernet and go into it to set things up. You can use the OpenIPC configurator, you can SSH into it and do stuff like that. And the only other cable we've got is just labelled 2FC. Plug that in, and basically we've got power, ground, RX and TX. Oh, almost missed them. There's a little bag of mounting screws in that box as well. Also, they still sell it with the dual band wireless USB adapter, so if you still want to use an Android phone or tablet, you get one of these. And this is still the same as it was before. It's a little AC 1200 MBS. Got a couple of antennas with it, and you get this USB-C to USB converter, so you can actually plug this thing in. Obviously this is the most exciting thing, so before we do anything else, let's plug this into an HDMI input and let's see what we get if we just turn it on. Unfortunately my capture card didn't want to do anything, so we're having to plug directly in via HDMI. I just wanted to run you through what you've got here. We've got a couple of status lights on. We've got some text up here. So if you move up and down on the 5-way joystick, you can see we're cycling up and down channels, which is a much easier way of changing your channel numbers. If we go to the right, we go between 40 and 20 Hertz. This is basically the higher and lower bandwidth of what you can do, which I haven't tested out yet, in fact. And there's no SD card in here, you will notice. And it says so here. It says disk's got 23 gig, SD's got 0 gig. We do have a record button here. If we press that down, it will say recording. Presuming it can record to the internal memory, I don't know. Or does it just wait for an SD card to go in? We'll be able to check that in a second. Because you're probably thinking, what do I do if I want to change any of the settings? Well, part of the good thing here is you shouldn't have to. The theory is now that instead of generating separate keys for everybody, OpenIPC have gone with the idea of like, look, just use the default keys and then stuff will be plug and play. So we'll test that later, but if you do want to change something, if we go ahead and hold that to the right, we should see something appear on the screen in about 5 seconds saying starting AP mode. And that means it's working as an access point and you can get to it via Wi-Fi, which we'll look at now. So the first thing you'll need to do is then attach to that network, which is called Redaxa Ground Station. I've already attached it once, so I put the password in. If you're wondering what the password is, I'll put it on the screen now. And what you can do is go ahead and go to Redaxa-03-local, and it will go and give you this list of options. So you can view your video files. There, they do exist. Wow. They are 0 megabytes. So if you've got no SD card in, you can still record video. I'm going to put an SD card in for recording video, but you can see them that way. You can also go ahead and change stuff on the ground station. So at the moment, we've got this set GS key, and you can upload a new one if you don't want to do stuff. And then you've got other things to change, like the Wi-Fi broadcast config, the screen mode, scripts/OSD, record FPS. So I think this is set to 60. This is DVR recording. And the OSD, it has the option of air or ground. This is where it's going to generate the OSD, so this is generating it in the air. Our screen mode is currently 1920 by 1080 at 60. I may change that to 720p at 120, and the Wi-Fi broadcast config looks like this, so it's got its default channels and gubbins like that. But if you wanted to get a bit more intense than that, you could go ahead and SSH to root. It comes up as a 192.168.4.1, and the password is different. The password for root is root, not 12345 like it normally is. And then you're into your normal configuration as you like. If you like that sort of thing, great. If you don't, it should just be plug and play. And that's what I'm going to test next. So let's get the camera plugged in. To put the antennas on, you just need to loosen the screw like just here, and then that will flip out, allowing you to put them on there. Put them in, screw them back up, and hope to hell we never have to touch them before. I despise UFL connectors. They're so fragile. Okay, so you can see I've got the ground station running there. I have just basically plugged in the camera. I've just depinned some stuff so I could plug it into a 4S and see what happens. So I've just plugged in, and the fan is spinning, so that must be good. So I'd expect to wait about 20 seconds or so before I get something. Let's find out. We don't know if we're on the right channel, is the only thing. Oh, got something going on. Yeah. So, yeah, that was, aside from the fact that the fan is making a wobbly noise, we have got instant config. Basically, I just plugged it in and it worked. That's spooky, isn't it? How much easier is that? So if you buy the VRX and this here camera and you just plug it in, it will work. Now you can see there it says it's waiting for data on dev TTYS2. This is because I haven't plugged in I haven't got a flight controller to actually plug anything in. But I should do that, shouldn't I? Just see what happens, and then we can really know if it's pure plug and play. Well, look, I don't advise people do this. I've very quickly and dirty connected everything up with crocodile clips just to give myself TX and RX from the flight controller and the power all to this guy, having depinned that. And what do I get? My face plus a vibrating fan, and yeah, we've got all the OSD data there. What we've also got is some extra bits, like we've got the CPU and temperature, which is quite handy, and we've got the frames per second over there, along with some stuff underneath. So I'd like to know if that's movable or I need to move my OSD. What I'll try and do is just hit the record button, which is there, because I just want to see and double check if that is going to record this stuff to the internal memory and if I can get it down. But as I said, most of the time I think I'll be using an SD card anyway. But yeah, that is plug and play. I mean, obviously you still have to do your OSD in MSP OSD mode, but I didn't have to configure anything. This is just any old flight controller configured. Pretty amazing. Right, I'm going to stop recording and see if that's worked. So I've started AP mode up again. So it interestingly just freezes the screen where you do it. But if we look at view video files, we seem to have one there. So I'm going to go ahead and download that and see what it comes down as, which it's already done here. So look at it. Oh yeah, check it out, it's me. Wow, we actually have a recording. I'm not having to use a stupid tablet as a ground station. And that is recording in, that's 720p because that's what the camera was set at, in exactly 60 frames a second. Perfect. Is there anything bad about it? Yeah, one thing, and that is the way the mini HDMI fits in. It doesn't fit in snug, and you can see that the screen's just gone blank there. And I'll show you, I think, why that is. Now, these are pre-production at the moment, and so it could be subject to change. But what I notice about this one, and what I will be feeding back to RunCam, is this is just recessed a little bit too much. So either it needs to come forward, or the moulding around this needs to be larger. Because what happens if we plug our mini HDMI in, there's no click, it just pushes. So it's very, very easy to come out. So I'm saying this not to like have a go, but this is one of the reasons I can't fly them right now. It's like I don't trust that. If you have a look at these goggles, which don't have a hugely recessed, when you push it, there is a noticeable click. So if I go click, and then nothing happens, you have to give it a good tug to get out. So that's what I want, that click. So either I have to thin the end of this down or widen that out before I can do it, because it's just too loose there. I can't take that risk. Aside from that, the build quality on them looks really good. It's so functional. The fact you don't even need an SD card, but you know, you can obviously put one in there and do stuff with it. So excellent bit of design. Now you notice they'll come with this little thing here, and I feel this is easier to get on like Fat Shark type goggles. I've got HD0 goggles, which are great goggles, but the fan unit, it's not like I can like take something off and attach something to it. It's even tapered. So I managed to print this, which I can get to hang off that, and it seems okay. And then I printed this, which goes on the rails, and I thought I'd just put some Velcro either side just to take any strain off, and then I get that sort of thing. I haven't tested it for sort of weight on my head, but I think, you know, I can just get round that. So for Fat Shark users, I think there's like 1 million prints you can get to go under your fan mounting or aligned with your fan mount to mount that. HD0 goggle users a little bit more tricky, but you know, it's definitely doable. It only seemed like yesterday that we had to find little pads on a impossibly small camera, solder onto them to create a serial terminal so we could break into the bootloader in order to flash the firmware and then do a load of config using a Linux shell. Now we just plug this into our goggles and connect a camera to our drone, and it works. This is such a way forward. This is like game changing. I've talked about things being game changing before, and that's because things have jumped on so much. As soon as like RunCam and Emacs got hold of the idea of producing them, things got easier, and now we have a proper off-the-shelf goggle VRX. Now obviously I want to fix this bit, but as I said, this is pre-production, so I'll sort that out before I fly it. And of course this doesn't just work on the RunCam stuff. You can use the little Emacs, we can use the original RunCam board. On these ones I still had my my own drone key, so I'll just basically move the default key back on and it will just work with everything, do it that way. And the fact that this is what I was using previously, I had this sat on the ground with HDMI connected, and this didn't even record, so I had to have a tablet connected to one of those Wi-Fi adapters, these ones, and record there, and that would drop frames and everything. So I am really looking forward to trying this out. It's so much more like it's like analog but in digital way now, because if everybody's on the same key, then we can easily go and view other people's flights, and you know, there's no problem if there's two of us on the same channel, because you can change channel. We can change channel by pressing the buttons here. We can change channel on the drone using MSPOSD just by going into the menu and changing the channel that way. It's a revelation. So yeah, really looking forward to flying this once I sort out that little mini HDMI thing. Also noticed, don't know if you guys have, if you've seen this, I've got mini HDMI in both my goggles and this. Can I get a mini HDMI to HDMI cable in the UK? No. I found a couple of AliExpress, but that was it. Everything else is mini to regular or mini to micro. Nothing's ever mini to mini. Weird. Anyway, hope that's been helpful for a first look. Of course, I want to fly it as soon as I can. Let me just get things sorted, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and doing it. Anyway, hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you next one. Bye for now.
Well, you've made it to the end of the video, so thanks once again for watching. If you like what you saw, then please consider subscribing, and if you really like what you saw, then be sure to check out the link to my blog for a variety of ways in which you can help support this channel.